Welcome back to another Google workshop, and this is the third of 5 workshops. And in this set of workshop videos, we're looking at how we can use Google assignments and also the way we format Google Docs, our cover sheets and assessment schedules to maximize student self-management and hopefully achievement. And one of the things I think students and teachers are both really struggling with as we move into this blended learning environment is actually how they manage their resources, both online and offline, and where they go for all of the information that they need. And one of the things that we as teachers can do to help that is try and actually collate all of the information the students need into as fewer sources as possible for the likes of assessments. And so one of the things teachers can do that is actually use the assignment feature really efficiently. And so what I really suggest is actually, whilst the description part of a Google Classroom assignment is really useful, it's also somewhere where actually it's just another source of information and potentially a source that is going to be overlooked. Because when a student goes into that assignment view, they're not necessarily going to pay attention to maybe the description or those instructions because they're going to jump straight into the open and take part in the actual activities or particular documents that you've created for them. So what I really encourage is A, that file naming convention that we talked about in a previous video, and then B, actually structuring the assessment documents themselves to include all of the relevant information and instruction rather than having to go between an assessment document, a separate schedule, maybe the instructions page on Google Classroom. So I really encourage teachers to use docs that have everything in one place. And then the second thing, so what I mean by that in my example document here is we've got our cover page with all our assessment information, we have our assessment schedule, and then the tasks themselves. And the tasks themselves link out or provide the context from which, hey, in task one, you go out to this other document, etc., rather than trying to direct the flow through the description part of, say, a Google Classroom. The other part to that is, of course, that we're trying to be efficient and use our time effectively. And by doing added descriptions in our Google Classroom assignments, we're just going to have to replicate that at a later date. So why not put it into a doc that we can reuse really easily? The other thing I highly recommend when creating an assignment is actually thinking about the order in which you add your resources. So for example, when I add some resources into an assignment, say for example, I was adding the resources for the slideshows for these different workshops. If I actually add these in the order there that I'm going, so I've gone number 1, number 3, and number 2, they're going to actually show up in my assignment as number 1, number 3, and number 2. The assignment doesn't automatically alphabeticize them or put them in a numerical order. It takes its cues from the order in which you actually select them. So if I wanted you to work through the document as I've labeled it in chronological order, then I'd have to select number 1, number 2, and then number 3. And that's a really simple and effective way to actually send a clear message to students about which order you would maybe like them to actually work their way through this set of resources. And of course, I might choose also to make a copy for each student. So hopefully that's just a really quick and simple way that you can help manage student learning through making it really clear and simple for them to access the resources in as little time as possible and go into as fewer places as possible. Thanks very much for watching.